When you're marketing yourself as a trainer, an interesting tactic that you might decide to use is to focus on a particular sector. Now, I've never done this because I was lucky and I got a good start working for a university and we had lots of customers. And then when I went self-employed, I was able to keep those customers because they closed the department down. So I got off to a lucky start. But I do know trainers who've done really well doing this, focusing on a particular sector, particularly if it's where you've originally come from. So let's say you're an engineer like me, you could focus just on training engineers. Good luck, by the way, because engineers are quite difficult to train because they're very methodical in their thinking. You can't fool them. If there's a flaw in your argument, engineers will know. But nevertheless, engineers only trust other engineers. So if you are an engineer, that gives you a huge advantage if you want to sell to the engineering sector. So you could focus on engineers, or you could focus perhaps on lawyers or the healthcare sector or accountants. And particularly if you are an accountant, then absolutely you should focus on accountants. If you've come from the healthcare sector, absolutely you should focus on healthcare. Even if you're teaching them things that are not related at all to your background. So you might be a doctor, but you might be training people in management or time management or handling difficult people. The fact that you're a doctor, the healthcare sector would much rather have you as their trainer. So if you're going to focus on, let's say, lawyers, you could teach them all sorts of things like how to delegate, how to improve their time management, how to deal with difficult clients. There's a whole load of courses that you could run just for lawyers. Now, there may not be enough work for you in just training lawyers, but what you could do is you could target 2 or 3 sectors. You could even have a separate website for each sector. So your website that targets lawyers could talk about clients and matters and all those sort of legal terms. And then you could have another website for targeting, let's say, the healthcare sector, and you could talk about patients and patient care. You could use lots of healthcare type terms, and you probably wouldn't talk about profit, whereas with the lawyer's website, you would talk about cutting costs and increasing profit. So if you had 2 different websites, that would mean that you really could focus on those people and you could send them to your website, your particular landing page, and they could look at that. And it's not too much effort because you've only got to duplicate your existing website and then adapt it for that sector. Now, is that dishonest? I'm always asking myself this question. And the answer is no, I don't think it is, because you really are focusing on those sectors and you really are understanding them. And law firms are always really pleased to hear about all the other law firms that you've trained. And if you genuinely have trained all those other law firms, why not make that a feature of your training, that you really understand the specific way that lawyers think? So focusing on one particular target sector of the market, or focusing on several target sectors and specializing in them, could be something worth thinking about. And your starting point is, where are you from? What do you know about? So if you're thinking of getting into training and you want help with this kind of thing, please do contact me on the link below, successfultrainers.com. Have a free conversation with me. Maybe I can help you to get started and make you into a successful freelance trainer.